Hi again, today's video you're going to be going through an origin that allows you to kill someone just by simply looking at them. If looks could ever have killed, now's when they will. Today we'll be discussing the Enigma origin. First seen in the Afterlife SMP via LD Shadow Lady. This is also a really cool origin within and of itself to go over, so let's get started. So the Enigma origin is a pretty intriguing origin. Little origin to sift through. I'm pretty sure most of us have all been exposed to what the Enigma is. If you haven't, well, it's as simple as looks can kill, but let's get started with our beautiful abilities. Mystery, puzzles, trickery. You make people live in fear of themselves and question their own sanity. This origin was created by the Sad Doggo 2008, and if you want to go download this origin for yourself, you will need to go to the Origins Discord server. I'm sorry, that's just the way it has to be. There will be a direct link to the original message that this origin can be found on, as well as a direct invite to the origin server in the first place. We got our first primary ability, Behind You. Nothing can evade you, uses ability to teleport behind anyone. So, let's get into it. So, as we can see, we got a beautiful pack of sheep over there. Let's press the G button, and suddenly we're on the other side of these guys. But basically this ability just lets you quickly teleport behind someone. I assume you have to be a fair bit away. I don't know, it's very weird. I think it might have to have at least a certain amount of distance between you can actually do anything with it, maybe? I don't know. Okay, so that short distance works perfectly fine. So if I look at that guy, unfortunately we don't know when the cooldown is, which is a bit wacky. Yeah, because you don't have any cooldown indicator to mark the fact that you're on cooldown or not. It just happens, which is very weird, to say the least. Maybe it's in survival mode? No, there's no cooldown bar at all. You just have to play some guesswork on when the ability actually is ready to use. One thing to note there, though, you don't have to be looking directly at a mob. It kind of just teleports you in the direction you're looking. So there may or may not be a mob in that certain direction, but you'll teleport a certain amount of blocks in the first place, which is interesting. Into our next one, we've got the clone. Using your secondary ability power, you can summon a clone at your place in it and become invisible. If either of you get hit, become visible again and create an explosion that deals damage at the clone, killing it. Pressing the same key while your clone is alive to kill it. Interesting. So let's go to the Origins tab. Let's see our secondary ability. So, pressing this. So it looks like a creeper with potion effects. I wonder what that looks like to other people. It seems like as long as a clone exists, it doesn't ever end. There it is. So you take damage that just implodes, and you're now visible again. Doesn't seem to be a cooldown to it. Be very careful though by the looks of it. If you're close enough to it, it will hurt you when the potions go off. I think they're instant damage. 2 instant damage potions that immediately smash and go off the moment you press either your secondary key ability or whenever you take any damage. Another interesting thing to note is that I still am invisible despite the clone being killed. Maybe it requires you to take damage to lose the invisibility effect entirely. This should be enough to take damage, right? Boom and boom. And now you're visible again. So what can be gathered from this ability is that you will only become visible again whenever you take any form of damage. It doesn't matter if you destroy your clone, you'll still be invisible for the time being until you take any form of damage. Moving on though, we've now got Hidden in the Shadows. You can hide in the shadows. It's toggleable with X. Yeah, being able to phase through all blocks and almost invisibly transparent. Okay, so we're going to need to take a bit of damage again, aren't we? So we can actually become visible. Boom. So now we're visible again. If we use the X key. Okay, so your body itself is almost non-existent, but your cape is pretty obvious. Then yep, you phase into the wall, which is awesome. And you can pretty much just go down. Nice. So basically the phantom ability, from what I can gather on this, does it burn through your hunger quicker? Maybe, I don't know. Can't quite tell. It seems to be about the same rate as normal sprinting. Next we got Staring Contest. Staring at an entity for a long enough time will kill it. When you begin looking at it, it will gain slowness and weakness. Later, your stare will also inflict blindness and nausea. Let's figure out how long it takes to kill a mob with the stare. Let's grab ourselves some oak fence. What's paid? Oh, creepers. So let's grab ourselves a bamboo creeper, because we still got that other mod installed from like the review a little bit ago. So grabbing this, let's just stare it down. So 1, 45, 46. So about 45 seconds. That's a Now, people were saying this on my live stream the other day, that this was a bit overpowered. By the way, if you didn't know, I try to live stream on my YouTube channel every now, like probably once or twice a week. There will be a stream this weekend on Saturday for me, so it'd be like a Friday night for my American viewers. But basically, they were saying that it's overpowered because you can simply kill them by staring at them. But from what I can gather here, at least with mobs, it takes like 40-ish seconds, which doesn't work at distance. Like how far we have a distance on the stair for it to actually be doing anything. So we can tell the stairs activated on them when they get some form of particles around it. So from about this block distance... Why are that sheep over there? I don't see particles on the sheep. I do see particles on the creeper. Is he moving away? It's about here. How many blocks is that? So negative 64 and 55. Let's move up to the way the creeper is at. So, about 10 blocks in the X direction and about 10 blocks in the Y direction. So I would say it probably has about a 20 block distance, which is pretty good because you can be a fair distance away from the player that you're trying to kill with this stair. Yes, the stair takes an awfully long time to actually kill, but you keep in mind, the moment you start staring at them, they are immediately inflicted with, what was it, slowness, and yeah, the moment you start looking at them, they'll get slowness and weakness. Furthermore into it, they'll get blindness and nausea to act on them, and then they'll inevitably die, which overall is very interesting. It takes a very long time, almost a minute, but it's still pretty interesting to say nevertheless. Let's move into our next one. Hated. They betray us. Villagers won't trade with us, and we can't tame anyone. So, the big thing here is that you lose your ability to not only trade with villagers, but you won't be able to tame any form of animals either, so you don't have the extra protection from them. Very, I'd say drastic debuff, because it'll, like, especially when you consider villagers. Pets, maybe you'd be annoyed by that. I mean, you just want to get horses and stuff like that. That might be good for you. You might hate it. You might never even use any of the mobs that you can tame, and it's not really going to be an issue to you either. Next we got good sight. Sneak to see all players even through walls. You also have permanent night vision. So I would assume, so by the looks of it, it gives all players a glow effect, but it doesn't give any mobs, which is pretty interesting. And then also, if we go time set midnight, yeah, we also have a night vision, so we can see perfectly fine at nighttime. What's next? No fighting. You can only stare people down to death. No fist or swords or axes. ... So no melee. What about range? So you can't activate that. Oh. So, okay, you don't... So you still have ranged weapons. You cannot do any form of melee damage though, but you can still shoot from a distance. So you still have ranged base damage, but you do not have any form of melee. As you can see here, I don't do any damage. So you're not completely defenseless with only the stair being your main source of damage. You'll just have to rely on other form of ranged methods to do damage. Like, personally speaking, I wouldn't consider it to be an overpowered origin. I would say it's a very interesting origin. Because you can say, oh, but you can kill someone without actually looking at them. But you've also got to consider the fact that takes time. And yes, you'll easily get some kills on people who are completely unfamiliar with your origin and existence. But the moment they know how you work, and the fact that the only way you hit them and kill them is via just looking at them for a decent amount of time, it's a bit of a mixed bag. It does lead to a bit of an interesting thing. I wouldn't call it overpowered. I wouldn't call it weak either. I would call it's like somewhere in the middle. It's got some pretty good uses. The elongated stair makes it so you're not going to get some super easy kills, but you do have the ability to A, go invisible and teleport around. So if people do try to hide from you, you can easily get back into their sights and continue staring at them without them knowing. But if you did enjoy this video, make sure to click this video on screen over here, or click this playlist over here with more Origin mods. But until next time guys, bye bye!